Fight, 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 fight. That's what we're seeing in the Liberal caucus these days is fighting is breaking out all over the place on different bills. Obviously, we've been talking about the MOU, and we've heard and seen at this point Mr. Guilbeault hopping on with CTV, Vashti Capello saying, this thing stinks. We were lied to, ministers were misled, and he just kind of like threw Carney under the bus on national television. That was fascinating to watch. And then we have caucus revolt happening around Bill C-9. No, the bill that is looking to strip out religious exemptions of hate in this stupid bill in the first place. Remember that one? Well, apparently that's not going too well either in the Liberal caucus. And today's committee meeting was canceled due to what is alleged stuff that's happening behind the scenes in the Liberal Party, where they might just recant on this whole thing and just be like, all right, we're out. It's getting interesting. You're making a difference, baby. Life is good. Let's get going on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday afternoon. Welcome to the Elevate Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. Getting value from today's episode, take the time to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us to grow. It helps us to get to new audiences. And it helps people see there is something different than what the mainstream media has to offer. And now let's get our first story, shall we? Again, this is more MP Michelle Rumpel-Garner is putting this out. And this was fascinating because this is more of like Ottawa gossip that she, again, speaking from her perspective, what she's hearing from staffers who's talked to a staffer who talked to this person. You know, it's one of those situations, likely. And that's what she had to say, though. She's like, I'm hearing Carney and Fraser's deal with the bloc on this issue is created massive internal Liberal caucus fights. The Liberals just canceled today's Justice Committee meeting, which was set to consider this issue. Fraser has a lot of strikes against him. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that is what we're hearing behind the scenes right now. Even Andrew Lawton, who's front and center on this committee at the moment, said this: the Liberals got up in question period yesterday and accused the Conservatives of obstructing justice legislation. Less than 24 hours later, the Liberals have canceled today's justice meeting, blocking us from reviewing Bill C-9. What's going on over there? And it is fascinating, right? You have, again, the Liberals pop up in question period, accuse the Liberals of obstructing this justice bill. And yet sounds like people in their own party are obstructing this justice bill as well, aren't they? And actually, I spouted off at Sean Fraser online yesterday, or a couple of days ago, about this very bill, how he was so offended that Andrew Lawton, the Conservatives, are obstructing it and, using selective editing and trying to make Andrew Lawton look a specific way. And I said that, I know it sucks to have the parliamentary rules used against you when you use them all the time, hiding behind parliamentary privilege and lying about these issues. Kind of stinks, but yes, I'm kind of happy at least the Conservatives are doing something to obstruct this disastrous bill. And there's, people's like, we thought it was a disastrous bill. Show the proof. Here's some proof. Even people in the Liberal Party are like, where do we stand on this? I'm sure there's some who are like, we got to go all in. No religious exemptions, all in. There's some who are like, I represent a riding that has a lot of religious people in it. Maybe let's not do this. There's a lot of people, as we're talking about this, what's going to be the Liberals' downfall is they only are in this for their jobs. And that is going to probably be the thing that causes them all to fall, is they want to keep their jobs. And fighting other MPs on their team is going to lead to them falling at this point in time because they want to keep their jobs. That is what we are likely going to be seeing, but the National Post picked up on the story as well, which is getting interesting because, you can't have your cake and eat it too, and that's what we're learning here. It says, Liberals fear backlash. Bloc says Liberals stalling debate on removing religious defenses in hate speech laws. The Bloc Québécois says the Liberals canceled a scheduled meeting of the Parliamentary Justice Committee on Thursday, where they were expected to discuss an amendment to remove the religious defense for Canada's hate speech laws out of fear of backlash for supporting the move. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet appeared before reporters Thursday morning alongside Réal Fortin, the party's MP on the committee currently studying Bill C-9, the Liberals' bill aimed at tackling hate. Fortin has been set to bring forward an amendment to the bill which proposes scrubbing from the criminal code religious defenses which are available for certain hate speech charges, which, as the National Post reported this week, the Liberals had struck a deal to support in exchange for the Quebec Party helping pass this bill. However, that meeting, which was set for Thursday afternoon, was canceled. We fear that because representatives or would-be representatives of some groups came to the committee and sat there, that the Liberals fear backlash against them within some communities, and that because of that, they have canceled today's meeting, Blanchette told reporters. He added that the party worries the Liberals could do the same for the 2 meetings scheduled for next week, putting the study of the bill off until 2026. Losing potential bloc support for the bill could jeopardize its passing, with the opposition Conservatives stating they oppose it. And what I'll say is this. This is because of you guys. This is 100% because of you guys. People, the regular people putting pressure on this party, even the people in the ridings of these MPs are just like, it's a no for me, dog. And if they don't include this stripping out of a religious exemption of this bill, well, Bloc isn't going to support it passing, meaning it's going to die. It's going to be defeated. And this stupid bill won't come to pass at all. And praise be to Jesus. Figure out what I'm saying. It's a terrible bill in the first place. This thing stinks. It's completely and utterly, it reiterates laws that are already in the books, claiming that's what they're going to solve. And then it adds little things like this issue with religious exemptions, and again, a vague notion of what hate actually means. How are they going to go after people who have hate speech? This, that, the other. Like, it's a doubling up of a law to make it look like they're doing something when we already have laws in the books that solve for most of the things that they're already talking about in this bill. This is just purely performative because they suck at their jobs. They suck with immigration. They suck at essentially all the issues that have led up to this point that has fueled the issue of hate, quote unquote, in our streets. And they turn around, create the issue, present the problem saying, well, Bill C-9 is going to fix it. Is it? Pretty sure everything you're proposing here is, well, it's the same as whatever we have on the books. And now you're just looking to add more things into it to get more control over society so that dissidents do not criticize you any longer. I think the big things with the Bill C-9 essentially is it just accentuates what bills or laws that we already have in the books, but it makes them more subjective around like, what constitutes as hate? If you're motivated by hate, if you do X, Y, and Z things, again, it's a bill that's very vague in terms of how it's worded, and we believe intentionally so that if you do anything that can be deemed as hateful, again, motives, attitudes about hate, these are the things that are mentioned and talked about consistently surrounding this bill. That was what is included, and that's what's getting people like, ugh. It's a no for me, dog. It's way too vague and gives you way too many powers of circumstance to go after political opponents using this bill is what it's going to end up happening. So bill stinks in the first place. And then on top of that, stripping the religious exemption of it is what sent it way over the top, and people are done and have enough. So when it comes to this issue at this point now, Liberal Caucus is revolting over this. They're fighting over it and they don't know what's going to happen. If they can't come to an agreement, if they decide their caucus strips that or keeps the religious exemption in, well, the bloc québécois out and the bill's done. Either way, it looks like this thing's cooked from what we are currently seeing at this present time. Because as we're seeing, not only are they fighting over this, they're fighting over the MOU situation as well. Again, we saw Stephen Guilbeault go on Vashey's show saying this thing stinks. We don't support it. We were lied to. I was trying to convince Elizabeth May to vote with us. Now I feel betrayed. Like, there was a lot of weirdness of this interview, essentially throwing Mark Carney under the bus. So you have the MOU issue they're all fighting over. You have the Bill C-9 issue they're all fighting over. And this is starting to show that there's a lack of caucus discipline and leadership is what I'm understanding. And since the CBC won't give wall-to-wall coverage of this issue, well, we'll do it for them at this point. And that is what we are currently witnessing. Is there's just like skirmishes and fights all over the Liberal caucus right now, meaning it's not looking good. Knowing that Mark Carney's eyeing a potential election date late spring, early summer, especially with all his caucus members who are looking to leave, cabinet members that are looking to leave and move on, it's either going to be a bunch of by-elections or you're going to have to go to an election. Which one is going to look better? It's probably going to be an election. So he's gonna his hand will be forced, and it won't be good if he continues on this track. Well, it's going to get ugly. It's not going to be good for them. And so when you have this on top of the big issue, which is CUSMA or USMCA, however you want to put it, you're dealing with caucus revolts at home. over several different issues. You're getting Canadians are getting increasingly impatient with the lack of movement on the deal with the United States, and knowing that CUSMA or USMCA is up for review later next year. Things are not looking good for Mark Carney at all at this point. And if the Conservatives can keep on messaging in terms of focusing on the cost of living, focusing on things that matter to people, while as well coming across authentic and real, Carney's in tough. He's going to be in very tough very soon here. So we had this, remember, we talked about this yesterday, where Donald Trump is musing about the idea of backing out of USMCA altogether, and that's what he had to say.
It expires in about a year, and we'll either let it expire or we'll maybe work out another deal with Mexico and Canada. But look, Mexico and Canada have taken advantage of the United States, like just about every other country.
So he's musing about the idea of backing out of USMCA altogether. So this has gone from, hey, we'll get a deal on these crucial sectoral tariffs to we're going to have to renegotiate the whole trade deal altogether. Yikes. And I don't really know what is happening because, again, it's a trilateral agreement between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Trump is entertaining the idea of let's just kind of back out of it. He needs about 6 months. If they declare they're out, they will have 6 months before they're officially out of the agreement altogether, and they're going to renegotiate separate deals with both Mexico and Canada, which that starts getting very dicey very quickly for Canada, and as well as a little dicey for the United States as well. They'll have to tread those waters carefully if they do decide to do that. However, when I'm speaking on Canadian issues at this point, Carney's in tough. Like as I said, it went from focusing on sectoral tariffs to potentially having to renegotiate a full free trade agreement, and all your caucus hates each other now. So we'll see what happens. Light days for Mark Carney. Well, don't worry. He's going over down to Washington tomorrow for the FIFA World Cup showdown. Carney to meet Trump Sheinbaum tomorrow in D.C. Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump will have a brief meeting Friday at the Kennedy Center, according to the Prime Minister's office. Carney will also meet separately with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. CTV News confirmed via the Mexican Embassy in Canada. Sheinbaum will also meet privately with the U.S. President. The three leaders will be in Washington for the FIFA World Cup draw on Friday, which will determine the tournament's composition between their countries. The Prime Minister said days ago that he was expecting to see his U.S. counterpart at the event. There is no explicit mention of a formal meeting at the time. Rather, Carney simply predicted he would see the president around there. Carney and Trump spoke sometime between November 25th and 26th, but the conversation wasn't newsworthy, the Prime Minister told reporters. This is where Mark Carney is at the moment. So we have revolt over Bill C-9. We have revolt over the MOU. We have Canadian citizens getting increasingly impatient with this government around the issue of tariffs with the United States. Elbows up, being mad at Donald Trump is starting to not work, as we're seeing with the things that people care about. Donald Trump has slipped to number 5 on the things people care about, or Canadians, the issues that Canadians care about at this point in time. If I'm looking at the score right now, it's looking like 5-0 against the Liberals at this point. They are in very tough at the moment, and we'll see how they react and where we go from here. At the moment, they are currently having a live debate in the House of Commons over Bill C-9. We have the likes of,
suddenly trying to put the brakes on this.
Garrettson crying right now.
The parliamentary secretary who spoke before me brought this up too. She made a very good point. She said they're divided. And now they're yelling, no, they're not. But here, maybe they will allow me to table some social media posts from their members that have contradicting views on that. I bet you they won't do that, just like earlier when this started. And the parliamentary secretary to the government House leader said, well, why don't you guys want to work till midnight then? And they jumped up and they said, we do, we want to work till midnight, of course, yeah. One of the members like, right on. And then moments later, within 20 seconds, the same exact parliamentary secretary stood up and said, okay, I ask unanimous consent that we stay till midnight to the rest of the session. All it takes in unanimous consent is one person to yell out no.
They all did.
They all did it. They all did it. That's what happened in this House. It's theater to them.
So that's what's going on again. Especially Mark Garrettson, he will 100% every time deflect, and the Liberals will project what's happening in their party onto the opposition. And that's what he's doing as well here. There is revolt in the Liberal Party. There are infighting happening in the Liberal Party. They want to act like they're super unified because they had Don Tremont come over, and that guy hates his life. Where's he been since that all happened? He's been buried into the depths of the earth at this point. This is how this all operates. This Liberal Party is greasy, and it's starting to come apart at the seams. And they are praying, just praying, that Christmas break comes soon, because it's not been a good handful of weeks for them. So we'll leave it there for now. But anyways, enjoy your day. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.